Every animated villain gets handed the same lazy label, and it's the most boring word in the genre: evil. But evil isn't a diagnosis, and when you actually watch these cartoon bad guys behave, every one of them lines up with the real condition. Today, I'm giving 10 of the most iconic villains in animation one real diagnosis each. Let's start with the man who makes being a judge the scariest job in France, Frollo. There's a reason the judge in The Hunchback of Notre Dame sees sin and a plot in every shadow, and it isn't faith. Frollo has paranoid personality disorder. He doesn't trust anyone around him, deep down, all the time. Dead sure the world is out to get him no matter what anyone shows him. It's there in the very first thing we watch him do. He chases a woman down the cathedral steps and kills her over a bundle he's already decided is something evil. And the second he sees what he's really holding, his first move is to drown it like a monster. He keeps the man he raised locked away in a bell tower for years, feeding him a story that the world outside would hate him and hunt him down, because a line like Frollo's just can't picture other people meaning him anything but harm. In his head, a whole group of people turns into one big plot against him. He talks about an enemy hiding under every tile of the city like ants, a secret web only he can see, and only he can wipe out. And when he can't explain why he wants Esmeralda, he doesn't stop to question himself for a second. He just decides she's a witch who cast a spell on him, putting the blame anywhere but on himself. So Frollo isn't a holy man who slipped into temptation. He's a man whose every waking thought is bent by the belief that he's surrounded by enemies, and who'll burn down half of Paris chasing a plot that was never there. While Frollo turns everyone into an enemy, Bowser turns one woman into a bride who never said yes. Underneath all the spikes and fire, the villain of the Super Mario Bros. Movie runs on one delusion he treats as plain fact. He's decided the woman he's obsessed with secretly loves him back, no matter how clearly she tells him otherwise. That's erotomania. Everything he does is aimed at a wedding Peach never agreed to.
You really thought I'd marry you?
Kinda.
I'd never marry a monster.
He twists her obvious disgust into part of the romance, telling himself that of course she hates him, and that it only makes him love her more. The kind of thinking that lets the fantasy survive any amount of rejection. I mean, come on man, just let it go. He sits at a piano and pours his heart into a sweet little love song about her. Totally serious, completely sure she feels the same. Then, the obsession turns into jealousy and control, the way this one usually goes. He grills a captured Luigi like he's a love rival, treating a total stranger as a threat to a relationship that only exists in his head.
There's a human traveling with my fiancée. Has a mustache, just like you. Do you know him?
No.
A tough one, I see.
And when Peach turns him down to his face, he's genuinely shocked.
Peaches. Listen, this is not the way I pictured it, but give me one more chance.
Ew, no.
Because in his version of the story, her yes was always coming, and even shrunk down and beaten, he's still begging for one more shot to win her over. So the King of the Koopas isn't really taking over the world for power at all. Every castle he storms and every kingdom he burns is just one big love letter to a woman who's never once written him back. And speaking of love nobody asked for, Hopper doesn't want any of that. He just wants everyone under him kept in line. The grasshopper terrorizing the colony in A Bug's Life runs his whole setup on one simple rule, and it has nothing to do with food. Hopper has antisocial personality disorder. He doesn't care about anyone. He leans on fear and control to get his way. And he feels not one bit of guilt about either. He rules through pure fear, and he knows it. When his own brother begs for mercy on his deathbed, and Hopper made a promise, he keeps it only because it's funny to him.
Deathbed, that I wouldn't kill you. I would kill you. And believe me, no one appreciates that more than I do. Shut up.
Then turns around and dangles the smallest ant in front of a hungry bird, just to watch the colony freeze.
What's the matter? You scared of grasshoppers?
He has no use for kindness and treats every bug under him like a tool that's there to serve him. What pushes it past plain old cruelty is how clearly he understands the system he's built. He shuts up his own grumbling gang by laying it out that this was never really about the grain. It's about keeping those ants in line, because if the smaller, bigger in number colony ever figured out how strong it really is, the grasshoppers would be done.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
He'd rather rule a scared colony than risk an honest one. So Hopper was never just a bully shaking down a smaller colony for grain. He's a bug who knew that the moment the ants stopped being scared, he was finished. and who would rather burn the whole thing down than let them learn it? But where Hopper was always cold, Lotso had to be broken into it. The pink bear who runs Sunnyside in Toy Story 3 didn't start out cruel. He was broken by one loss he never got over. That's post-traumatic stress disorder, where a deep wound from the past reshapes how a person sees everything and traps them in the moment it all fell apart. His whole way of thinking traces back to one afternoon. Left behind and then swapped out by the kid who loved him. He found his way home only to see another version of himself already sitting on her windowsill, and something in him snapped right there.
She replaced us. Come on.
No, she only replaced you.
She replaced all of us, didn't she?
From then on, he repeats one dark line over and over, that toys are trash, and they're all gonna get thrown out.
This is what happens when you dummies try to think. We're all just trash, waiting to be thrown away.
The lesson his wound carved into him stretched onto every toy alive. The wound shows in how he treats anyone who reminds him of it. He smashes the locket of his oldest friend, Big Baby, for daring to still love the kid who left them, punishing a soft spot he can't let himself feel.
What? You want your mommy back? She never loved you. Don't be such a baby.
And when Woody offers him the truth, that he was loved and could be again, Lotso turns it down flat, because taking it would mean opening up the very thing he's built his whole life around avoiding. So the warm, strawberry-smelling bear running the daycare isn't born a tyrant at all. He's a hurt toy who decided that if love could hurt him that badly once, then nobody around him would ever be allowed to feel it again. And just like Lotso, the next villain hides something underneath, except his lid only stays on for about 3 seconds. The Lord of the Underworld in Hercules spends most of the screen time smooth and cool, which makes the moments he blows up even more telling. Hades has intermittent explosive disorder, where rage erupts out of nowhere, way bigger than whatever set it off, and then drops just as fast, leaving him scrambling to act like nothing happened. The pattern is almost like clockwork. He'll be coasting along, then blow up into a tower of flame at a minion who's half a second too slow, only to catch himself and swear he's fine.
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
Smoothing himself back into place. His meeting with the Fates goes the same way, calm talk falling apart into a screaming flare the instant something doesn't go his way. The condition runs under even his lighter scenes. He blows up at pain and panic over the smallest things.
I've got 24 hours to get rid of this bozo. Well, the entire scheme I've been setting up for 18 years goes up in smoke, and you are wearing his merchandise!
The anger way too big for whatever caused it, and it's baked into how he hates the job he's stuck with, ruling the dead while quietly fuming about it. A low anger always one spark from catching fire. So Hades isn't a wisecracking schemer with a temper. He's a guy always sitting on the edge of a blow-up he can't see coming or stop. Charming right up until the second the fuse catches. Hades loses his temper, but Shen loses his grip on what's real. The peacock at the center of Kung Fu Panda 2 has built his whole identity on refusing to accept the world as it actually is. Shen has derealization, where a person breaks away from reality, treating the true version of events as somehow fake, and swapping in a version he can stand to live with. He does it most plainly with his own past. He insists his parents hated him and feared him, rewriting the memory of a family that truly loved him into a story where everyone was against him, because the story is one his mind can hold on to. When he's faced with a prophecy that already came true, standing right in front of the warrior who's meant to beat him, he just calls it impossible, unable to let the real moment land.
Oh, do you actually believe this is the warrior destined to defeat me?
His whole motto is about cutting himself off. He keeps saying the past is dead, and only the future is real.
The dead exist in the past, and I must attend to the future.
A way of cutting loose from anything that actually happened, so he never has to feel it. At the very end, given one last chance to wake up and see clearly, he picks his blades in his fantasy over the truth.
The only thing that matters is what you choose to be now.
You're right. Then I choose this!
Because letting reality back in is one thing he would never be able to survive. So Shen isn't just a revenge-hungry tyrant with a grudge. He's a guy so cut off from what's real that he'd rather go down defending a version of his life that never happened than live one more second in the one that did. And while Shen rewrites the past, Syndrome rewrites the present into a stage with himself as the star. Long before he built a single weapon, the villain of The Incredibles was just a starstruck fan who got told to go home.
I invented these. I can fly. Can you fly?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Oui, et cette nuit est complètement ridicule!
And he never got over not being seen. Syndrome has histrionic personality disorder, a desperate, bottomless need for attention, and a habit of turning everything into a show, because being ignored is the only thing he truly can't handle. Look at how he works when he's grown up. He doesn't want to just beat his old idol, he wants a show, going on and on about his master plan with so much flair that he gets caught up in his own speech and drops his guard.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe...
He set up a whole fake crisis on an island just so he could swoop in as the hero he always wanted to be. And he flat out admits the goal is to be a bigger hero than Mr. Incredible ever was.
Syndrome will save the day! I'll be a bigger hero than you ever were.
You mean you killed off real heroes so that you could pretend to be one?
Oh, I'm real. Real enough to defeat you!
The tell is that the heroics are hollow and all about the spotlight. He plans to attack a city with a robot only he could beat, purely so the cameras catch him saving the day. And he soaks up the thought of crowds of screaming, grateful people. When he's finally standing over a captured Mr. Incredible, what comes out isn't a cold planner's speech.
I am your biggest fan.
Buddy?
My name is not Buddy! And it's not Incredible either!
It's a hurt fan replaying the exact moment he got rejected, demanding to know why his hero brushed him off.
I am your #1 fan! Hey, wait!
So Syndrome isn't really a supervillain in the usual way. He's a guy so starved for an audience that he was willing to fake every heroic thing the world would ever clap for, just to finally feel watched. Unlike Syndrome, who needs the whole world watching, Tai Lung only ever wanted one thing he was promised. There's a villain in Kung Fu Panda who simply will not take no for an answer, and the whole tragedy of the film comes out of that. Tai Lung has oppositional defiant disorder, a deep refusal of authority, and a furious, total inability to accept being told he can't have what he wants. The pattern is set the moment Oogway looks into his heart and turns him down for the Dragon Scroll. Instead of accepting it, Tai Lung lays waste to the whole valley as a tantrum aimed at the authority that said no. Years in prison do nothing to soften it, and the second he breaks free, he marches straight back to demand the same thing he was already told he can't have. What makes it click as the diagnosis is how completely he blames everyone but himself. He stands in front of Shifu and rages that rotting in prison was Shifu's fault for being weak, that he was owed the title and robbed of it, never once stopping to think the no might have been about his own heart. Even when Shifu finally gives him the apology he always wanted, Tai Lung throws it back because the apology was never the point. The scroll was.
I'm sorry.
I don't want your apology. I want my scroll!
So the snow leopard tearing his way home was never just a power-hungry brute. He was a guy led to the edge by the master who promised him greatness, and who then couldn't handle the single word that would have saved them both. But where Tai Lung can't take a no, Farquaad can't stand anyone mattering but himself. Few villains show off their ego as proudly as the tiny tyrant running Duloc. Lord Farquaad has narcissistic personality disorder, a huge sense of his own greatness, a hunger for status, and zero care for the people he steps on to get it. The big ego is right there on the surface. He sets up a fancy tournament and frames a whole town worth of knights dying for his sake as some noble gift, telling them straight up that some of them may die, but it's a sacrifice he's willing to make.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
He grills a gingerbread man and runs a spotless, rule-covered town where everything exists to sell his idea of perfect. The care for others just isn't there underneath. He picks a wife the way a shopper picks from a catalog, scrolling past women like prizes to be won.
Oh, okay. Number 3!
Lord Farquaad, you've chosen Princess Fiona.
Caring only that marrying a princess will finally make him the king he's deserved to be. And he never hides it, telling Fiona not to waste good manners on the ogre because it doesn't have feelings.
Farewell.
Oh, that is so sweet. You don't have to waste good manners on the ogre.
A line that shows exactly how he sees everyone who isn't him. So Farquaad isn't a villain driven by some dark goal at all. He's a small man with a giant idea of himself, ready to throw away anyone and anything to force the world to crown the perfect king he already sees in the mirror. And speaking of guys who feel nothing for anyone, our last villain doesn't even have the heart to try. By the time Puss in Boots: The Last Wish gives its baker villain an actual conscience to sit on its shoulders and beg him to feel something, the joke is already obvious, because nothing reaches him. Big Jack Horner has psychopathy, a deep and total lack of empathy, regret, or any ability to care whether the people around him live or die. The film sets it up almost like a test. He keeps a little cricket nearby who says he's a conscience, there to judge the kind of person Jack is. And Jack just ignores every word of it while doing the worst things you can imagine.
You're not gonna shoot a puppy, are you, Jack?
Yeah, in the face. Why?
He feeds his own loyal henchman into a deadly magic without a second thought, shrugging that you can't bake a pie without losing a dozen men.
Help! Sweet mother of goose, Jack!
Well, you know what they say. Can't bake a pie without losing a dozen men.
The deepest hell is that there's no word underneath driving it all. The deepest hell is there's no wound underneath driving any of it. Asked about his past, he admits he had loving parents, a stable home, and a thriving business waiting for him. And he waves it all off as useless, wanting instead only to own every scrap of magic in the world, so no one else can have any.
But once I get my wish, I'll finally have the one thing that will make me happy.
Oh, well, what's that?
All of the magic in the world. For me, and no one else gets any.
When the cricket finally snaps and calls him a monster who can't be saved, Jack doesn't argue or even flinch. He just agrees to disagree and keeps walking. So the scariest figure in a film full of fairy tale outlaws isn't the one who growls or schemes. It's the smiling baker who was handed a good life and felt nothing for it, and who would burn down the world with a happy little hum because he was simply born without the part that says no. But if you want more breakdowns like this one, subscribe and watch this video next.